Welcome to So Many Receipts. I'm Shelley Seddon.
And I'm Fleur Michelle.
And we are two entertainment journos based in Sydney, Australia who love to analyse and talk about all things reality TV and pop culture.
In Shallow Dive, we shine a spotlight on something we just have to talk about. Hello, Fleur here. So the other week I attended the Stan launch for new Aussie reality dating show Love Triangle, which screens every Sunday night. It was a very fun night hosted by Maddie J at event space The Gunnery in Woolloomooloo here in Sydney. Apart from the cast, there were several other MAFS former contestants there, including Ella Ding, Evelyn Ellis, Duncan James, Dunn, Jack Miller and Tristan Black, who all told me that they thought this year's MAFS was hilarious, and some of the scenes this year shocked even them. Stan had gone all out to put together a stunning night. They put up some huge neon triangles inside the space, which visually looks stunning, plus you could have pics done on a bed in another room, which was also so fun. I caught up with all of the Love Triangle cast members who were there, including the most notorious cast member, former MAFS star Mike Gunner, who you may remember was matched with Heidi Leitcham all the way back in 2019. That was the season that Cyrell Paul and Martha were also on the show. So Mike got the villain edit on MAFS for saying things to Heidi like, "I'm not your therapist," when she was trying to tell him about the traumas about growing up in foster care, plus other not so great comments. But when I spoke to Mike, he was lovely and did say that he had learnt a lot in the last 6 years and recognised he'd made mistakes on MAFS. I have to applaud him for the emotional growth and for being straight up and vulnerable in our chat. I really do hope we see a new and improved 50-year-old Mike on Love Triangle. So listen now for my chat. I'm sorry it's a bit noisy. It was a loud room. But I started by asking Mike why he was back for round 2 of reality TV.
Why another one?
Yeah.
Well, it went so well the first time. I've come back for another roll of the dice. Look, I don't know. I'm hopeless. It's probably, let's be real. I'm not much good at places.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, we saw you on MAFS in 2019, and I was a bit sad to see, you didn't settle down with anyone for about 6 years now, I guess. Are you difficult to date?
I don't think so. No, I really don't. No, I'm fair and kind. I think my problem is I'm probably too picky, and I have a high standard, which probably I don't know what even that means, but I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, no. Why don't you
probably
get over
the answer is no, I'm terrible to date.
Everybody always talks about the bad edit on reality TV. Are you worried about your edit on this show?
No. Look, I'm used to being the villain, and I don't know. I did the very best I could in there, and I was trying to be myself, authentic and vulnerable, and just be the best version of myself I could be. Look, if that's enough to get a good edit, then great. And if not, then, it's out of my hands. It's a lottery now how they want to make me appear. So I suppose do your hardest, go your hardest. If I'm going to be a villain, for goodness sake, make me the worst kind of villain. If you're going to do it right.
Okay. So on this show, do we see more of the real you compared to MAFS, do you think?
Well, MAFS was the real me, no doubt. I wasn't always, and people say, well, it wasn't edited well. I made a lot of mistakes there, to be honest with you.
Well, early days, MAFS has come a long way now, so we don't blame you for that.
Well, you've got to think that I'm still the same person. I'm a better version of myself, of course, because it's 6 years later. I've learned a lot. But I'm still who I am fundamentally. I have the same values, and I'm direct in a way. But I find that I'd rather people be direct with me. I don't want to dive under. Just tell me how it is. Let me know where I stand. That's all right.
Okay, so what is the most challenging thing about this show, Love Triangle?
Challenging show about this compared to MAFS?
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, I prefer doing this to MAFS. I really do. I think the schedule wasn't as fast-paced, and it sort of suited me better. There was a little more downtime, a little more time to kind of rest and relax, because it was exhausting. But so was MAFS, but MAFS just didn't end, and it was like, oh my God, I just want a nap, for goodness sake. Here I got a couple of naps in, but I really like the concept of this. I like the idea that there was going to be 2 matches. I felt like it was a good opportunity to try this again, maybe do better this time, and hopefully the way will get a better sense of who I am, and maybe taste it. Hopefully I'm not the villain, but if I am, well, it's out of my hands.
Yeah. Now, have you watched any Married at First Sight this season?
Yeah, I've watched a couple episodes. Not every episode, but I've watched them in the last couple of weeks, and I'm up to date with it.
What's your expert opinion? It's been pretty crazy, right?
Look, that is a tough environment. Everybody in there, you've got to think that everyone in there is doing their very best. I don't think anyone's being malicious or intentionally trying to harm others. There's emotion, there's long days of filming, there's relationship expectations and distraction and interference from the group. So if you mix all that around, you've got to get mayhem.
Now, one more question, because I have always been curious. Did you actually date Casey Stewart, the daughter of the world's hottest grandma, Gina Stewart?
Yeah, I did. Actually, you know what? Now I can talk about that. Yeah, she saw me at a bar. She was 25. I'm a red-blooded male. She was gorgeous.
Is we talk about the daughter or the grandma?
The daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, the daughter. Not the grandma. I think it's like, I don't know, 70 or something. I'm
She looks good.
Beautiful 70-year-olds.
Look her up, yeah.
Look, we had a fling.
Okay.
But we met in a bar like anyone else would, and she reached out and said, hey, let's catch up for a drink, which we did. We dated for a while, and then I just said, listen, you're too young.
Okay.
I'm too old for you, and that's just that. But, she actually called me a couple of months ago, and we just had a chat out of nowhere. She has a kid with another guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, I like to try and remain friends with my answers. I don't want to think that there's anyone out there that is, if you said my name to them, they'd shiver or cringe,
Yeah.
like I've always been respectful to women. I was raised by women. Mm-hmm. Look, a lot of people say, oh my God, you remind me of an Andrew Tate character, you remind me of a Donald Trump. Those guys are fucking...
Yeah.
Tell them that to their face. I am a liberal. I'm a progressive. I don't subscribe to men showing aggression around women whatsoever in any way, shape or form. I'm completely intolerant of that. I've taken down more than one man in my time in defense of women.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you have no idea. If you're in trouble, you want me around. I can promise you that. End of story.